Hey
Hi,
guys,
everyone. Good morning.
I have to start off with an with a very sincere apology about sorry, I'm getting emotional about something that was said last week. Um, I think the quote was in his core, Elon Musk is just a chill guy. And after the events at the inauguration, this past week, I would like to take that back. I sincerely apologize for any group of people that I may have offended with that statement. It wasn't true, and I should have predicted the future, um,
Mhm.
or just kept my mouth shut.
That's very brave of you. Thank you for sharing that. Not many are able to come forward with such a upfront apology. That is crazy though, because anything you say ever can be misconstrued through the events of time.
True, I knew a
So
guy
keep
once
that
who
in
did
mind. With that being said, how about this weather, guys? Like,
breaking news. It's snowing
bruh.
in Tallahassee
And other places,
and
but
other places, but more significantly, Tallahassee, which we both used to live there 5 months ago.
five score and yeah. Um, and I know it's a big deal to you guys, but think about the rest of the world, perhaps the equator. Some of us aren't.
I think the inability for Tallahassee residents to be sensitive about this topic
Volumes.
speaks volumes.
So for our Tallahassee listeners, shut up.
We're
Thank
sorry that we left and the temperature significantly dropped.
you.
Um, Not my problem though.
Exactly. So we'll be bundled up over here. Have you ever read that Frost poem? It's like burr, burr, burr. Only
No,
a man would get away with that. It pisses me off.
his last name's Frost.
Okay. I guess he has a point then. Edgar Allan Poe was destined to be a poet.
True. Um,
Yeah,
he was actually really into dancing as a kid. He took
like
dance.
that thing.
I think it was more like ballet.
Maybe the heart underneath the floorboard was actually a metaphor for when he was tapping his little heels on the floor.
I okay.
Can we talk about male ballerinas and having their junk out? Like
Because yeah, what's with that? I think there are children here.
the Nutcracker. Ew.
That's my nickname back in high school.
Disgusting. Okay, I'm gonna break some news to you guys about the word of the day,
Mhm.
Merriam-Webster word of the day.
Oh, this isn't even your word of the day. I
Should I ha come up with my own?
think you
My
should have.
word of the day? Okay. My word of the day is polarization. You might hear me say that a lot today. That was the word of the year, actually.
Of 2024.
Mhm. I believe.
Checks out.
The word of the day is wanderlust. Can we? Okay. And maybe just my perception of the word wanderlust is because of like Tumblr and
Taylor Swift's perfume in like 2012.
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of just like it's kind of like just cheesy as a word.
Um,
I do like lust, but
lust. Lust would be a really okay, you know that like thing that's like cool names if they weren't like already words.
menopause, yeah.
Lust also.
Wrath. Um, ooh, syphilis? No. What's the one word that's like pretty,
There's a lot of them.
but it means like jealousy, whatever. Dis discretion. Okay, I'm getting out of hand. These aren't good names.
Envy.
Ooh, is envy green?
Is it green in my head? Yeah.
Ooh, is jealousy also green?
Jealousy is yellow.
Do you know there's two different types of envy, like malicious envy?
I did know that. Um, the seven deadly sins.
Oh, we're
Should
gonna
there
talk about.
be more?
I think seven's just like a lucky number, but
I think we could cut some out and add some more.
yeah, okay. Lust is
Yeah.
keep.
Keep it as a deadly sin? I don't think I don't think
Oh,
it should be a deadly sin. I think it's like, it's chill. I like it.
sorry. Someone was trying to get my attention.
Okay.
Lust, chill. Envy. Okay. I think gluttony should be a higher priority. Not like just food gluttony, but just
Yeah.
gluttony. Like
Yeah.
greed.
I, those are two different things.
Is gluttony only applied to food? Oh my God.
I don't like actually know the definition. I've only just like seen the movie. Let me Google it.
The movie Inside Out.
Seven.
Oh, my dad said I'm not allowed to watch that because it's sad.
Dude, it's really good. You should watch it.
I will. I've heard great
Yeah.
things.
It says habitual greed or excess in eating. So it is only like,
Habitual greed, though. Oh, in eating. Did
yeah.
Pandora girl.
I don't think sloth should be a deadly sin.
Mm-mm. I think it's just a byproduct.
Yeah. Maybe you're just depressed. Have
Well, okay. Isn't depression like a sin in the Bible?
I don't know. I've only read Gen
Old Testament. Mhm.
I've only read Genesis and Revelations.
Revelation, it doesn't have an S, but Revelation is the best part.
That's why I read it. It's the first
Yeah.
one
It was the first book you read.
I yeah. I only read Genesis to better understand Narnia.
Right, I forgot Narnia is like biblical.
Yeah, it's heavy with it. Love
You love Narnia though. You're a freak.
Narnia.
That leads us to our next topic. I didn't want to, I wanted you to pick up
Oh, which one?
groups.
Oh, okay.
Because isn't Narnia, they're fighting a battle over,
That's the
or,
second
okay, sorry.
one, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. I was talking about The Magician's Nephew, which is the first book, which is like the creation of Narnia, which, which is why I read Genesis, but
Right. Are
whatever.
they all white in Narnia?
What?
Are they all white?
Or like animals.
All of them?
Well, there's like the queen, and she's like a human, but then like everyone, and like the the characters are like human, but like Narnian like citizens of Narnia are like creatures. Like Reaper sheep. Reaper sheep is he's the little mouse.
Oh,
He's a, Prince Caspian. Um,
no. Don't, isn't there a love
is
story in there?
not Shudder.
Doesn't one of the humans fall in love?
Susan.
Props.
She just has like a little fling
Fling.
with,
Yeah.
which is like
I would do it. Well, how old is he?
he grows up, so it's fine.
Okay, yeah. That's what I meant. So, no, Narnia kids versus people who had friends. Dude, you said that about Junie B. Jones.
Yeah. Well, I hated reading as a kid.
That's really telling.
I hated it. And then because when I was in elementary school, I was popular. I had a lot of friends. I was in Girl Scouts. And then and I hated reading. And then I moved to Florida. And then I didn't have any friends and I wasn't popular. So I started reading.
So you think it's tied to loneliness?
Mine was, for sure.
No, mine probably was too, because I used to get grounded a ton and I didn't have a phone. So I would just be left to my own devices, which were books.
Mhm. I was like, you don't have to make friends if you can just read them.
Read Harry Potter. Yeah.
And then they don't bother you.
Oh yeah, because if they get annoying, Harry actually bothers me. He bothered me though.
I never
You
finished
didn't
Harry Potter.
okay. So yeah, we could talk about books forever, but
So
we
true.
won't.
We won't.
Speaking of books, no. Well, speaking of books, Molly brought up a great point earlier today that you guys weren't here for. She said that The Hunger Games is the best social commentary since sliced bread.
Since, well, we were like since 1984, and then we reevaluated and we're like, maybe it's better than 1984. And I think it is.
Because it, yeah, it covers way more ground.
Covers way more ground. It's like it's a good YA novel. It can be fictionalized, but it's also like I read it as a kid and I was like, oh, fun story. And then I read it as an adult and I was like, oh, oh my God, it's happening, guys. So I think I think that's what makes it so good. And it's so accurate. It's everything. And it's also some of the best writing. Suzanne Collins is an amazing um writer at her core, which sue me, but J.K. Rowling,
No, but okay, I still think her world building was decent, and maybe that's just because it was my first like fantasy induction. No, it wasn't, but you get attached to the characters, and that is crucial. The
yes. But is that because it's 7 books long? Because I've read a book series, and this is what kind of made me realize that was because I read this book series and it was 6 books, and I cried when I finished it because I was like, I feel so attached to these characters. And then I like reflected and I was like, it wasn't that good of a series. I've
is it the
just,
Mortal Instruments?
no,
Oh,
the Shatter Me series.
you read all of those?
Mhm.
Okay, sorry.
Um,
The first couple were really good. But then I hate when, okay, I hate when there's a will they, won't they, and then they do. And then I'm like, psh,
well, are you talking about the love interest, Aaron Warner?
mean guy. Yeah.
Well, he's like so much better than the
The
other guy.
nice guy. Yeah.
He's not nice. Did you forget? Did you read the third book?
Shatter me, bend me over, break me. What's the third one called? Like,
Like, imagine. I actually have no idea what the order is.
I
Um,
think I only read the first two then.
okay, well, the third book, things get flipped
Sequel
upside down.
names? Sequel names are so funny.
True.
Like when they're like thoughtless and it's like shatter me again, or when they're like complex and it's like
Mm.
I don't know what I'm getting at.
Now you see me. Now you see me. You couldn't have done. Now you don't. Like,
Well, it's actually okay. And those movies are fun. Fuck you guys. They get a lot of heat.
that's my favorite Jesse Eisenberg character.
You would love him if he played Hitler. Sorry, that.
Isn't he Jewish?
Well, would you rather a non-Jewish character play Hitler?
Just to be more historically accurate. I think it'd be a little sadistic if you got
Bad taste. Yeah.
a Jewish.
Yeah. Well, there were literally Jewish people that became Nazis.
Um,
Sorry, should I not say that word? Why did your eyes go wide?
Maxwell texted me, and I was
Okay.
hear it through the computer. But
Anyway, speaking of the 1940s,
oh,
groups, hierarchies, caste system. Well, is that a bad
you know,
segue?
the Holocaust.
Dude, why are you trying to cancel me today? I'm trying.
You've been trying to cancel me for like a week straight,
You're really cancelable.
and
Anyway,
you're really cancelable.
Italia. Um, no, I'm not.
That
I'm really PC. What does that even mean?
politically correct.
Yeah, except well, yeah. Okay, so in order to have a hierarchy, there has to be a dominant group and a submissive group. But these groups are built not based off of logic. It's typically just built off who is able to get the most power
Mhm.
and whatever they base that power in, whether it's colorism, racism, sexism,
Bourgeoisie, classism.
ism, bourgeoisism. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think division is probably human nature, especially when we tie it back to Neanderthals and Homo sapiens.
Right.
There were wars.
Well, yes, but there's also the question of because Neanderthals and Homo sapiens were different species. Um, they had different levels of intelligence and everything. So, what's with this human habit of grouping people together when we're all the same?
Amazing point. There is an evolutionary psychology, which is controversial because people are like, it shouldn't be applied to today because of evolutionary mismatch. But I think it's still interesting to learn about because it can be applied to today. But there's a rule called Hamilton's rule, not Shakespeare. Is that him? That you're more likely to help someone with higher related. Oh,
What did you just say?
not Lin-Manuel Miranda. Sorry. I get those two mixed up.
Okay, carry on.
Sorry, losing in my notes.
Well,
Okay.
Hamilton was like the 18th century, and Shakespeare was like the 14th.
Okay, I wasn't there for either of those.
the 15th century.
I
Yeah.
really excel 18th
Anyway,
century onward.
continue.
Well, now I don't. Okay. Hamilton's rule is you're more likely to help with a higher relatedness. And they actually like formulated an equation that is like the cost benefits analysis between saving your two cousins' lives versus saving your mom's life. Um, sorry, I'm getting distracted, but my point is if someone looks more like you, would that apply if you're more likely to help them? And then that can also be tied to our implicit bias um, and association. If you're raised around, only white people and you're not exposed to people of color, and then also the narrative you get fed, whether that's based on media or like, I don't know. My point is we have an affinity for people that look more like us, which we should abolish.
Do you think that that's taught to us, or do you think that that's something that is like in our brains?
Well, see, because then it could tie back to Uncanny Valley, which we say shouldn't be applied to humans. But I think a lot of it is taught. I think a lot of it isn't like, because no one's born racist, I do believe that.
I also believe that. I do think that like selfishness, do you think because I do think the grouping people together, like we were saying earlier, is a dominant group and a submissive group. And it's like you want to be in the dominant group because they have more power. But that a selfish idea?
I think probably wanting more power comes pretty naturally,
Because it's
at
like
least to men. Yeah,
it's self-preservation or
observation.
yeah.
I would say so.
So is that just human instinct?
It depends how much you like yourself. Or like,
It's on if you want to kill yourself or not.
'cause,
Um,
like, would you go into a burning building to save a dog?
depends on whose dog it is. If it
It
was
depends
Rocky,
on if it's ugly.
yeah. But if it was like a
We
stupid
don't
little
need to
dog.
name Scrappy Doo. We'll go.
Yeah. If it was, yeah.
But it's interesting because um when it comes to intergroup conflict versus intra-group conflict, do y'all know what those words mean?
Hmm.
Okay, so when it's
Explain it.
across groups,
Yeah.
yeah, when it's across groups, dominance is used to intimidate, and that's more effective. But when it's inside groups, we're just trying to impress each other through prestige.
Mm.
So, dominance is only present when it comes to across groups, which actually I do want to talk about crickets. Um, they like have a physiological reaction when they're like losing a fight or going to lose a fight. They release nitric oxide, and then that makes them run away. Like they can't even control it. It makes them run away, and then it makes them submissive for hours after the fact. Isn't that freaky?
Yeah. I'd be pissed.
I would too. That's why you just gotta win though. And then the winning crickets get all the bitches.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. The hierarchy inside a hierarchy. Because like that's been around. That's like think of a kingdom. There's the
Hmm.
peasants and then nobility, and then there's still like the different titles, king, other people,
Hmm.
the fool, the
Hmm.
lords, the ladies. They're all nobility, but they're still like
Yeah. And even if you were, like a rich or upper class lady in ancient Rome, you still couldn't sit close to the at the bottom of the Colosseum.
Mhm.
But then if you were a slave, even worse.
Yeah.
And then if you were a female slave, like it really gets broken down into. I actually don't know much about female slaves in ancient Rome.
Um, I think they were more just like prostitutes without getting paid.
That is terrible. I'm so sorry, ladies. Jesus.
Yeah, well.
And then the men were probably like, ew. What?
Some side notes about prostitution in antiquity. Um, a lot of times the men that women were forced to have sex with were very drunk, and so they could get away with like no penetration, just
Mhm.
like between the thighs. I think that's awesome, actually. Also, there was one guy, I forget what year this was, but I can find out. It was a guy. He just dressed up as a lady, walked into a brothel, started working, and then people were like getting mad, but they were like, but he was like, y'all didn't even notice. So, like his customers, like after a few times, found out, and he was like, it took you like 5 times to notice that I'm not a lady.
5 times of.
Like 5 visits.
Okay. Dude, they were lying to themselves. They definitely knew.
They were just like you like they had wine for breakfast and they were like 18 years old, all of them, all the time.
Dude,
I was
the
18.
alcohol consumption.
You know, I'm not gonna.
Oh,
I read a book once. Um, it's called History of the World in Six Glasses. It's fantastic, but it takes um the history of time, like first civilization, and breaks them up into six dominant drinks of choice, like starting from like beer to wine to spirits to like I forgot.
mead.
Coffee, tea,
Oh,
coffee, Coca-Cola, and it like explains. So interesting. Check it out.
okay.
Recommended reading for the week.
For the book club.
Yeah.
Um, you reminded me of something when you were talking about the man in the brothel.
Mhm.
Why do men have more sensitive nipples?
Because when I do know that men can breastfeed. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but if you
How?
stimulate their nipples enough and like
Ew.
suck on it, they're they'll start producing milk.
Is this like evidence based on personal experience?
No. I read a thing about it.
Okay. She read a thing, guys.
A study.
Peer reviewed.
Yeah, very reputable in all the medical journals.
Hmm. Not enough people know how to read a study, though. It's actually, oh my, fuck. Okay, okay. Meerkats, their hierarchy is a matriarchy. Also honeybees. Men are worthless.
Um, Male prostitution. Let's talk about it.
You're right.
Um, they get so mad. The porn industry. Women carry it on their backs. Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Subject by force.
Right.
Atlas carrying the earth.
Um, um, hmm. um, Well, I was like, oh, well, Atlas is like being punished. And then I was like, well,
Exactly. And we can't let go because
apple.
then, oh,
You've ate the apple. Yeah. Anyway, OnlyFans.
mhm. The natural step of the porn industry.
Right. Um, made, okay, OnlyFans, first of all, in case you don't know what it is, made, made the porn industry accessible for the individual, um,
Mhm,
specifically women, the individual woman to contribute to the porn industry.
mhm,
Um, and then men are mad about it, but they're also the ones paying for it, but they're also
mhm,
the ones who are not participating in it
mhm.
because they know that they wouldn't make any money because women would never pay for that.
Yeah. Well, it's a very small amount of women. And if they do, they're probably just like supporting their friend, you know?
True.
But like women don't need to pay.
Because men are easy and they just give it up.
Exactly. Exactly. I was talking to this guy though about OnlyFans, and he was like, the reason it's so prosperous is because men want to have that personal connection with the women that they're seeing naked, or like be able to feel personally connected. And I'm like, personally for me,
I've never met a man that wants to have a personal connection with who they're seeing
no,
naked.
but they'll like watch porn and they'll look for a girl that looks like a girl that they like. They're looking up blonde hair, blue eye, massive rack. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I
No,
know.
this is horrible news.
Especially, yeah, if they can't see you naked, they'll just find someone who looks like you. And that's because they're way less choosy as a sex, which is also something in evolutionary psychology. And that's because they're allowed to be because they have way less commitment when they do put out, ew, when they do have sex. Like, they don't have to raise the kid, they can leave right away. So that's why women are choosier and men resent us for it.
The male loneliness epidemic.
Oh,
Get over yourself.
y'all did that to yourself.
Yeah, who?
It's because you're all on Reddit sucking each other off all day.
Yeah,
Like,
you're in
and
a
we love Reddit.
circle jerk.
Like,
Your
this
best
one
friend
girl was mean to me. Yeah.
instead of learning how to treat a woman,
Mhm.
which
Well, I think, yeah, it ties back to to like group think. When they meet one, they have one bad experience where they don't get what they want. And then they're like, they apply it to all women.
they're not very bright.
They're not. But
Maybe
when men are like, or when women are like, I've had repeated negative experiences with this entire gender, and then men are like, "Pfft, it's not all of us."
not all men. Well, and their negative experiences are like way worse than the negative experiences that men are having. Like men
Yeah.
are like, "Oh, she said no to me when I wanted to sleep with her," and women are like, "Yeah, I
I
was."
said no to him. Oh. Yeah. It's actually devastating.
Yeah, it's not. It's not funny. It's not funny.
But I think incels can change.
Yeah. The Sims are gonna love that one.
I would still date an incel. I would give him a chance.
Oh my God.
But actually, though, imagine how powerful that would be if one woman gave them a chance. Not saying that we should, but, and they don't deserve it, but
Well, that's the thing. Women will give incels a chance all the time, but they act like such fucking creeps. Like, have you ever? I've been friends with people who, in hindsight, I would describe as incels, and I'm gonna be nice to you until you are fucking weird.
Mhm.
And it's like they don't know, they think, and it's because if you show a guy like that any sort of kindness, they're like, oh my God, she wants me. And because they're incels, they think they're inherently better than you. And so that
Hmm.
they're like, you're gonna do whatever I want because you're in love with me and I'm better
Hmm.
than you. Now, him giving you any sort of attention is like charity. And it's like,
Yeah. And that's when the dynamic gets, and that's why they're incels, because
that's why they're incels.
you can't talk to a woman. And then if a woman does talk to you, you can't interpret it in a normal way because you're so accustomed to believing that it's your right, that a woman is your right. And you think that all women hate you because you're ugly, but it's actually because you're a shitty person.
Yeah. And I'm always saying that.
Yeah. You give them an inch, they'll take seven. You know, I'm always saying that.
You give
Ew.
it and they think it's seven.
That's yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
You give them a cup. Mm, I don't want to.
And they
I don't.
think you're two girls.
Actually, though, why do so many guys low key like or would be interested in a girl pooping on them? Not that I've met any.
Who are
Why?
you
Why is
trying
that
to
a video?
protect? What?
Why? Why was that even a video that everyone loved? Is it
Oh, um, I don't know.
okay?
I didn't love it personally.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
our morals are shaped by our experiences, and that's why incels are sh no, I don't know.
Selfishness is a byproduct of circumstance and privilege.
Ooh,
Um,
is this our conclusion paragraph?
essentially, um,
Even though you might be evolutionarily and physiologically, I'm forgetting all the words I want. You like built that way doesn't mean that you should do it.
we have to think about what it means to be civil as a society. And I think there are rules that we need to agree upon. And like if we're gonna recognize ourselves as not animals, then we have to actively work against any animalistic instinct that we may have that is not working towards our common goal of being civil.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I don't even have anything to add to that except go talk to a woman and go
Don't be
go
creepy about it.
yeah. And on that note, don't talk to us.